you were making the point, Mr. Hopper, that you were, when you were in your youth, you were angry and then you learned some stuff and I shouldn't be this angry, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, feminists can learn from that, which was shocking to me because it's as if you're assuming we have the same experiences, one. And also that you, as a teenager, have something to offer a grown-ass woman about
None of you cunts are feminists.
How they should handle sexism, right? I think you see feminists as you're just angry people. And you're not really quite understanding the nuance of what feminism is and what, not all feminism, but right, like what as women we experience. If you think what women experience is the same as that, I have 3 younger brothers, right? Yeah, and they experience the same thing you did. I don't think that's the same as like what women experience.
Wait, did you think you have 3 younger brothers and they experienced the same thing that Helper did?
Well, not quite, but like I remember to this extent only, where they were angry when they were like 18, right? And they had to grow, like, oh, why can't I get chicks? And then they would get like, angry. I'm like, well, look better. Go to the gym.
Oh, so there were no accusations of inappropriate conduct?
No,
okay, copy that. Okay.
Not my brothers, never.
Got it. I was just making sure. Okay.
But please, real quick, Brisa. I faced serious bullying. I'm not talking the kind of bullying which, oh my gosh, you got teased. Oh, you got your feelings hurt. No, not that type of bullying. I faced serious social persecution.
I'm very sorry for that.
I've been discriminated in schools for being special ed. I've been bullied. I've been literally bullied. Literally one time, the students and the teachers were literally ganging up on me in my 4th grade class. Which is, by the way, funny enough, if I were to have been blunt back then, that's where I would have developed a serious prejudice against Mexican Americans by then.
Whoa.
But funny enough, I didn't have it at that time.
Up.
I guess
oh,
I was
God.
still being the world.
Let's pause, please, for the love of Kanye. We need to put a pause in that. AP, it's your turn. 1 minute and 7 seconds. Perfect timing. Go ahead, AP.
Okay, so basically, I just want to touch on the fact that you said more often than not, workforces tend to the woman more than the men. That's not true. I went through a similar experience where I had shit talked about me. TikTok shop, I love you.
Fine.
And it got to a point of people saying that I got a choo-choo ran on me, and which was
hell no. Sorry.
But it was because I found out later I got
the most
fired,
insulting
and they
thing
didn't
somebody
pull up
could say.
any camera evidence, and it was because this one dude that was higher up was jealous that I did not entertain him, and he told the higher up above him that I did so-and-so with so-and-so, and I got fired, and it was not true.
He realizes there's not one person involved in a train, right?
And I just wanted to say that is false. They do not go against women or men. They go against drama. They go against whoever
even when they're the ones
the
perpetuating it or inventing it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's all.
So it has nothing to do with race, with disability, with special needs, or anything else. It has everything to do with people and their own motives and own drama.
Okay.
Yes. Can I agree with AP real quick? Can I just make an agreeing statement?
Yes, and I will give you a minute as well. Oh, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, Frog.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. This is why I try to tell people identity politics is not going to solve the corruption in most workplaces. That's why workplaces since COVID, what they've been doing is they've been using these HR and diversity initiatives to kind of like use it as a shield of criticism. How can you say anything bad about our workplace? We got a lot of diversity, inclusion, and equity. How can you say anything bad? Like it's a back shield, and they know it. So the office politics and the office drama do not get solved. Almost like we're actually creating a smokescreen for the very exact same problems we claim to want to face, but we don't do anything about it. And false accusations are wrong no matter who gets accused. Just so that I'm clear on this, I'm very neutral about this. If you're a woman and you got falsely accused by a man, get back at his ass and try to like get not revenge, but try to get your pays due, and vice versa.
Get your leg back, head ass.
Okay, and Asinine. It is going to be Asinine's turn. Go ahead, Asinine.
Just a super quick question to Mr. Helper. Have you ever seen a workplace where like all the men feel uncomfortable around the women?
Interesting question.
I have.
Yeah, it is an interesting question.
Actually, I have, yes, at the car wash, yes. At a car
Okay.
wash I used to work at, that it was like 95% male and 2% female, yes.
And what happened there? Why were all the men uncomfortable?
I
The
really
men
have
were
no clue.
uncomfortable there? I'm dead. What?
I really have no clue. I guess because I really have no clue. Not that I didn't see the men trying to get at the woman, but they definitely kind of like every time the woman would be near the like get the get-togethers of the car wash, they would be looking at them all like like it was very subtle. It wasn't right in their face. It was very subtle.
So then, how do you know there was like a culture of the men not like feeling uncomfortable? Like, did you ask the men if they were uncomfortable? Did they ever come up to you and be like, hey, I hate when this person comes up to me and like does this to me? Like, it's so terrible, and there's a culture of this. And like, there's these 6 people who all do it together and they see it happen and they're all okay with it happening despite me being visibly uncomfortable. Has something like that ever happened?
Not, I guess if we're talking very overt, probably not. But
So
the car wash I've seen like anytime the women would get close to the close like the get-togethers, like the male get-togethers with the supervisors, the bosses, and everything, the women will be like met with a lot of like they will be looked at as very weird or foreign just for being a part of the group. So I've seen it for myself.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna give you 15 more seconds. So
this is kind of my point, that like it's very common for like women to have to deal with harassment, to have to deal with all kinds of stuff in the workplace, and this is why these things like HR tend to like stop these types of things, because men tend to not have an issue with these things, right? You're like, oh, these HR departments are the crazy ones. It's not the HR departments that are the problem. It's the culture of men that get away with behavior. The past 3 jobs I have worked at, there has been a culture of sexual harassment, sexual harassment at my jobs. I had both my bosses, they were charged with sexual harassment on a minor. The 2 next jobs, the bosses knew of people who sexually harassed people and would just move them to a different position or to a different building. It was like, it's terrible. And I've seen it at like every single place I've worked at, and this just like doesn't happen. So this is why I kind of want to reframe and like ask the question of like, where is this misandry that the everyday man is experiencing that we're like so pressed in talking about?
Can I say something real quick then? As far
you've
as
got 25 seconds. If you go over the 25 seconds, I will just mute you. Go ahead.
Okay. Most misandry, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't come from women. It actually comes from other men. So some of the biggest misandry, well, no, like not all men, but like male feminists, the men who throw other men under the bus for brownie points, that kind of misandry. Yes, it's very prevalent.
But my point was the average.
New dad, it's his turn, and then
I'll make it very brief. The way that I was raised is if it has webbed feet and it quacks, it's a motherfucking duck.
It looks like shit, smells like shit, must be shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet and to the point. I appreciate that. Bella, my darling, your turn, and then we can go back to Frog, and then whoever else wants to chime in, just let me know. Just do a quick header, and I will happily pave the way.
I'd like to adjust a few points. I do feel like the topic is kind of scattered at the moment, but I feel like some of us are talking about workplace environments and some of us were talking about misandry. And I would just like to drive the point back home to misandry, right?
Love her.
When we're talking about misandry, it is based in the patriarchy, right? And so, Mr. Helper, you had said that male feminists are the perpetrators of this. I think when we look at who perpetrates misandry, I would say it's things that are derived from the patriarchy, like toxic masculinity and the traits that are associated with that. This term was coined around the 1970s, and it basically defined traits, behaviors, standards pushed upon young men from their very militant fathers who had come back from war, and these very masculine views. So you had to meet these militant standards in order to be viewed as a man. Things like men don't cry, men only be the sole protector and provider. They don't have any other, nurturing sides. They don't know how to be soft, things like that, right? So I would say that's where we see the majority of misandry come from. But when we're talking about, something like misogyny, it also comes from the same place. If we live under this patriarchal standard, it doesn't just hurt women. it hurts men too. And these standards are going to harm men in the long run, in multiple avenues of their life. And we can talk about that further if you disagree.
No, I actually was sorry. I actually was making the same point. I think what we need to get very clear is that patriarchy hurts. Sorry, this is weird. Patriarchy hurts both men and women. The system of right and misandry and misogyny. Misandry is a response, maybe, to misandry. I'm sorry, misogyny.
When you're done, I do want to hear from Digital and Tank. I haven't heard from them, but go ahead. Are you done? Oh, are you sure? Okay, all right. Digital and Tank, please go ahead. I haven't heard very much from you guys.
Oh, I thought it was my turn. My fault.
I promise I'll let you go. I just want to, I have not heard from either of them at all, I think, this whole time. And I want to give them a chance to respond, see if they're still even conscious.
No, I was just going to say misandry is going to be seeing the patriarchy and dismissing the mental health of men and saying it is all men. And I mean, it's really just discounting like the mental health of men and within patriarchy. It's not patriarchy that creates misandry. Misandry is going to be when it's all men and you don't give a shit about their thoughts on it. So
Okay, interesting. I think that can absolutely be misandry. I think this inherent term of like, well, men don't have any real problems. Like, what do you have to complain about? You're a man. You're a cis white man. Like, that to me is misandry. That to me is very much so a dismissal of someone and their legitimate struggles and telling them that they don't matter. And I think that is, because if anyone was to do that to women, I mean, there'd be outrage. So who was next? Tank, I haven't heard much from you, love. And then Mr. Helper, I promise I'll give you an opportunity.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I find it funny how Mr. Helper was giving his own personal experience, and then everybody started shitting on him for his own personal experience when feminism is literally based on personal experience. I forget the term for it right now off the top of my head. But yeah, feminism is based on your own personal experience. So, but we'll get back to the misandry part.
Is that, where do you get that from?
Yeah.
That feminism is based on that.
Believe the woman.
Are you talking about new feminism, or are you talking about?
Yeah, today's feminism.
Okay. So I do believe that today's feminism has an undertone of misandry to it. However, the reason why Mr. Helper, and no one was trying to shit on him. Hey, Pilot. No one was trying to shit on him. I think it was just being brought to our attention that Asinine had mentioned. So when you have someone who says that you did something, and let's say that it's unsubstantiated. Let's say, hey, Driftwood. Oh my God, I love the way this man talks. Anyways, I could listen to him read a whole book. I don't care what book it is. I could listen to it all night. Anyways, get myself up.
You were saying?
Yeah, so when there are allegations of two of the same instance being stated against a person, it gets really difficult. Hey, Drift. It gets really difficult to then try to dismiss it as someone being sensitive or someone being hypersensitive or whatever it was that the claim was, which we won't know. But it basically turns it like, so corroborating evidence is the thing. When someone makes an allegation and someone is able to corroborate it, it's called corroborating evidence. Two sources, same description. And so in this situation, I think it was only being pointed out that while what Mr. Helper believed to be misandry that he was experiencing, I think more or less it was perhaps his conduct that was making people feel uncomfortable, which is, if you are autistic and you can't pick up on social cues, that very well could be the issue behind it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just saying, I think ultimately when you have two people who are saying the same thing at two completely separate times, it gets really, really hard to chalk that up to misandry. And that's just, I'm not trying to come for you, Mr. Helper. I want you to know that I do understand that you've had some struggles in life. However, I don't think that, I think that may have been a poor example of misandry. It's not that we're coming for you, just saying, I think that it's a poor example of it.
Also, people have this
My
idea.
point.
Oh, go ahead, Digital. Is it Digital
Well, I
speaking?
was going to say, well, that's my point. You do believe that there could be two instances of him not being able to read social cues, though, right?
Not
I mean, as far
necessarily.
as we know, if I can just say something to that, for me, the biggest thing, bigger than even this, was again that you said you thought feminists could learn something from you from being a teenager who was angry, right? And I
You're an angry teenager. When you're coming
hold on
from a
one second.
place,
Hold on one second. I'm not done. Okay. So, and I, while I understand a lot of young men can go through that kind of like angst stage, but then to say, I think feminists can learn, what does that say? That says that feminists are angry. We're in that angst stage, as if we don't like our realities don't have any impact for ourselves or have any meaning or are significant. It's just like that of the teenager angst. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to correct you on that. I really encourage you to think on that, okay? Because you're not giving advice to feminists by doing that. You're actually putting us down.
so here's the problem. When you look at the world through a persecution complex, which is, by the way, something that I am trying to unlearn myself, a persecution complex, then you're always going to have a very pessimistic, greedy, dark view of the world, I think. To be justice minded doesn't mean that you are okay with enabling evil in this world. Absolutely not. To be justice minded though also means you have to kind of reciprocate what's being given to you. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of being justice minded. If you're revenge minded, you will probably want retribution. But if you're justice minded, I'll give you an example. Very isolated, peculiar example of something that happened to me. What's up? I'll give my
I was
example
just
real
saying I'm
quick.
gonna rotate. You're okay. Go ahead and give your example. I was just letting the people down below. If you guys want to request up and speak on this topic, I'm gonna rotate out probably like 4 panel members, just so that way we can get some fresh people in here. Not at this very moment. I do want to give Frog a chance to speak because they still have a timer on, but I will reset your timer for sure. Helper, go ahead and give your example. I want to give Asinine a chance to speak, and then I'm gonna do a panel rotation. And then I'll do another panel rotation. If you guys keep tapping the screen, I will do another panel rotation at 15K likes. So if you have something you want to say, just keep tapping the share of the screen and you'll be able to come up and say it. All right, go ahead, Helper. You get 1
It's a
minute.
very peculiar example of something that happened to me at home. I was at Home Depot last summer. I was at Home Depot and I was looking for some storage solutions because we were organizing our garage. Well, okay, so I asked for I guess a quick demonstration of a product, and 2 associates at hardware were kind of clowning on me. So they came up to me, they ganged up on me, not like physically, but like verbally. They went up to me, they clowned on me, and one dude went, "Hey, this dude couldn't open up a box," and he said it like he was clowning, like I was some sort of class clown, and the other dude was like, "Huh? Like he couldn't open a box, huh? I see this dude couldn't open up a box." They were being condescending. I tried to report the behavior to a manager at the Home Depot, whatever. They didn't seem like they got like their action. It didn't seem like they got handed their consequences. So what I do, instead of being petty and wanting revenge, I boycott the 2 people in that store. Like if I ever see them, I run away from them immediately. I don't want anything to do with them. That's me being justice minded. I'm not seeking revenge.
By running away. Okay.
Well, yes.
Sorry, that was.
boycott.
So you realize that that's toxic masculinity, right?
The winner?
You realize the judgment you received based on not knowing how to build or do that masculine skill, quote unquote, which is an absolutely asinine idea. Not saying anything about you, asinine. I just use that word a lot. Actually, it just so happens to be that way. But that's the idea. That's the stupid standard that we have, right? That would somehow be that because you don't know how to build something, you're less of a man. That's literally toxic masculinity right there.
Asinine, your turn.
It
Go
wasn't
ahead.
so much because
Wait, Asinine.
Yeah, you're good. So I understand what he was saying. I think he was trying to say it was an example of ableism and like people like attacking him for how he is, right? And I'm going to try to say this to you in the nicest way possible, Helper, okay? I understand you have autism, right? Me personally, I don't understand social cues very well myself, okay? I'm very socially awkward. I don't do well in social. When I am in like some like short-term fling, I try to like do my best to try to ask questions, okay? What you need to do is you have to do a little introspection on yourself and you have to say, hey, there's a pattern of people saying they feel uncomfortable, and because of what I am going through, I'm unable to pick up on the cues. Okay? You need to figure out why people are unable to pick up, or why you're unable to pick up on the cues, right? And if you're not able to control that, which is very possible, you have to try to figure out how to put barriers in social situations so that doesn't happen, right? In like a sexual situation, this might be like asking a question. Hey, is this okay if I do X, right? Like, that's totally fine to do. And I think it would be important just to have like that little bit of confrontation where you say, hey, is this okay? It goes a very, very long way.
I agree. But the just let me clarify. The justice aspect of it is that, okay, I'm not gonna go confront him physically, but they were being bullies to me, literally on the store to me. But I'm avoid them at all costs.
So
I
respectfully,
keep my peace.
I don't understand the relevance here when we're talking about instances of like people saying like you were sexually harassing them, right? Like, what's the conceptual relevance at the moment?
Because I
That's
was
the pressure
responding
class
to
framework
Bree, but she
of
left,
feminism.
about how they could learn about how feminists could learn to be more justice minded.
Okay,
That's
so
the
you believe
relevance.
these
So the
people
pressure class framework of feminism is a
just 1 second,
victim
please, Tank Man.
framework.
Just Tank Man. So you believe these people at Home Depot were feminists, right?
She
I dropped
dropped.
him down.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you something. Did you want me to drop?
I did. I dropped you just because you and Breezy, which by the way, Breeza, I'm so sorry. I did say thank you so much for coming. I just wanted to get some new fresh sangre on the panel for the upcoming round. I was going to drop 4 people. So AP, that's why I dropped you. But you guys can request back up. You guys are I really like your take on things, Frog. So AP, if you don't mind, and then if you want to come back up, please request back up.
Yeah.
Breeza, same thing for you, darling. It was wonderful having you guys both up here. Love and appreciate you. Thank you, darling. And if you guys have any, if you guys have anything you want to add on this topic, or if you want to just get back on the misandry topic, we can do that. I do, however, agree with Frog on some of what was being said. I really do, and I appreciate your. First of all, I love the name. Asinine is great. See, you got me started on that word, and now I just can't stop with it. It's like one of my favorite words, and I forget it to use it all the time. So, that topic was a bit intense. Let's just, how many people did I drop? Did I drop 2? I dropped 3. I'll drop 1 more, but there's not very many people requesting up at the moment, which I'm surprised. You guys don't have anything to say about the misandry. I'm interested. Why do we have lots to say in the comments? Who has something they'd like to say on the panel? Would anyone like to have a statement? Closing, Aniston, go for it.
Yeah, I think just to kind of just try to really flush this out, right? So when I asked for examples of misandry that men go through, I agree kind of with the toxic masculinity part, right? Like I would say that is, right? But like, are there any like non-patriarchal things, right? Things that aren't coming like non-patriarchal reasons that men experience misandry. Is there any of that here, or?
Would you consider men being afraid to approach a woman because they're afraid to be accused of sexual assault or anything like that? Is that non-patriarchal for you, or what?
If that's a skill issue, if when you are walking up to a woman, like if you think that like they're going to accuse you of sexual assault, right? Like I have been with multiple women, okay? I have had no problem of just like being like, hey, is this okay, right? If you like understand consent and you understand what you're doing, it shouldn't be a problem, right? And for like people who aren't very experienced and might have not had like many experiences being with women, that's fine. Just like take a little more caution, ask a few more questions. Be like,
Can I
hey,
jump in on
is
this?
this okay?
That's a nice assumption, but I mean, we do have multiple videos on TikTok
Is it
of
better if
women
we
setting
verbalize
up
it?
cameras
Just
at
like comment?
places like the gym, and then going overboard with, "Oh my God, he's approaching me,"
Okay.
and stuff like
I
that.
just
Hold
Asin,
on.
I
It's
I
gonna
would
be
love
really.
to. I was just listening to your point of view.
Hello.
Totally agree. I just was letting you speak your piece, and that whole notion of, I guess, the whole, misunderstanding what he was claiming. Totally valid in criticizing the behavioral patterns of like. And anyway, I just was jumping in saying I couldn't say it in the comments. I'm not like a keyboard warrior. Anyway, I'll keep it short, but I think that totally valid in what you're saying, and I guess I stand with you. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I think that so.
Wait, hold on really quick. I promise I will give you a minute because I know that you've been waiting very patiently. It's going to be Bella's turn and then you, okay? Oh, hello. How are you doing? I'm so sorry. Hi, honey. I'm so sorry. We cannot have kids on the panel. I apologize. Bella, go ahead, my love. You have a full minute uninterrupted, and then we will do snack, and then we will, then we'll do snack, and then we got to introduce Bottle Cap. Go ahead, Bella.
Thank you. Once again, I think that forms of misandry are going to be based in patriarchy. I think that when we talk about things like maybe a personal fear you have, Tank, I don't really know how to address that. If you could bring a majority stat on that. But like I said, you are more likely to be accused of murder than you are of rape. So if you're walking around, you're like in fear of being accused of murder, that would be more realistic than it would of rape. So if you have that fear too, then, logic and consistency, and that's based in logic and statistics.
As a man, I'll just jump in. To speak on that? I've never struggled with that in my life. Women are people, men are people. You just approach them.
False accusations go as under.
Go ahead and finish up quickly, and then I will give you another minute, Snack. Or actually, go ahead and jump in, Snack.
I was going to say that basically when it comes down to
the
idea of like what it was explained with the Home Depot thing, where basically everyone is saying that that's obviously toxic masculinity. I don't believe that. I believe that that's just bullying. That's just ableism. We don't need to put a label on every single type of masculinity. Toxic trait.
Sure. I'm so sorry. That sneeze was intense. Frog, you have the next timer. And then, actually, you know what? We need to introduce Bottle Cap really quick. Bottle Cap, can I get your name, age, and what you think of the prompt really quickly? And then it's going to be Acidide.
Acidide 24. What was that, please? What else do you want?
Oh, and what you think of the prompt?
Yeah, I think it's real.
Okay, wonderful. Asinine, go for it.
So Tank, respectfully, I think you need to stop scrolling TikTok. I think that's your problem. I think you're chronically online, okay? The example you gave of misandry was a woman on TikTok who's in the gym, who's content farming and got millions of views of her, saying that a guy was looking at her.
One woman, multiple women,
still speaking.
more than one.
I know, because it became a trend of content farming. Go to the comments on all of those videos and you'll see all of the comments clowning. Those are what we call on the internet lol cows. People who are there to be clowned at by the internet. No one in the comments is agreeing with that woman, okay? When I asked if you remember my initial question, it was the experience of the everyday man, not a single random experience that happened, the experience of an everyday man, the things you go through on a regular basis. What is the misandry that you experience, Tank Man? I would like you to answer that question. On a regular basis, frequently, not just random crazy.
I don't.
You don't?
It's not me.
Okay,
it's
so then
men.
why?
Because I'm backing up other men. Why can't I do that?
Okay, then let me ask you this. That's fine. You can do it. I would just like you to do it within a magnitude, okay? Do you think misogyny is significantly more of an issue than misandry? Tank Man.
Because men have the power.
Okay. So you agree with me. So then this is my point, right? That misandry might conceptually exist, right? But it's irrelevant.
Doesn't it mean that it doesn't exist?
I never said
doesn't mean that doesn't exist.
Hey, if you would listen to the words I said and stop being chronically online for a
What's
moment.
happening?
I just said it doesn't.
I'm going to stop using the ad homs.
It's not an ad hom. An ad hom is when you make an insult without attacking the argument. I'm attacking the argument.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing, calling me chronically online. That's what you're doing. So
an ad
stop
no,
ad
that's
homs
just
and
an
let's
insult.
progress with the argument.
Okay.
So Asinine, are you saying that misandry is not real? I'm confused.
No. So this was my point, right? That misandry does exist, right? But I think it's just kind of like an irrelevant thing to focus on and talk about, right? Like it's like racism against white people, right? It's like it's a stupid thing to talk about. Okay.
I mean,
like,
I would say.
Wait, what? Wait.
I would say this real quick. I think misandry is real, but it's far less institutionalized than misogyny. Most legal, political, cultural systems around the world have historically favored men, and that's why misandry is more often seen in individual behavior or online culture, and not in long-standing structural oppression.
Okay, wonderfully put. Thank you. Wait, really quick. I want Bottle Cap. Bottle Cap, I do want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the current topic? Do you have anything that you'd like to add? I know you didn't get a very long intro.
All good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's real, but I'll probably agree with Asinine in saying that, it's kind of a moot point just because of how it actually affects everyday guys. I think the example of like approaching a female in a bar in that type of environment and having the predistinct notion that somehow I am the same guy that is going to have some pass at her that might be inappropriate. I think that would be an example of misandry, but like I said, I think that the notion of it not being real isn't wrong. I think that it is real, but I just don't think it's that prevalent.
Okay,
Not to start a whole MGTOW movement over it, though. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
I've got like 5 more minutes at most.
Okay, gotcha. Herb. Okay, person with the dog picture, can you please introduce yourself with your name, age, and what you think of the prompt?
I'm Henry. I'm 22. I think misandry is real, but I kind of resent the use of the term like reverse sexism or whatever, because I think generally speaking, isms reflect structural, like part of institutionalized effects.
It's still sexism.
Part of institutionalized effects that take time to come into being, whereas something like misandry, the way that it's referred to, is more of like a countercultural thing. And I do kind of disagree with Asinine. Like, I think it's relevant to talk about, but more so within like maybe guys with guys circles, because I think it reflects an internal problem with masculinity. And its inability to react to kind of the evolving trends of femininity.
So I agree. So if you're talking about it in like the patriarchal sense, I would totally agree with you. And there's certain aspects that like guys and like if they express themselves in a certain way or they do a thing that's seen as like feminine, that like certain people might go at them, I'd completely agree in that way, right? But like when I just asked Tank Man, what's the misandry that you experience on an everyday thing? He's like, I don't experience it, but some other men do. It's like, well, okay, Matt, so this is my point, right? That, like, you can talk about it, right? But like if it's something that you're frequently talking about and you're harping on, it's just kind of like, let's understand the magnitude of this and like how bad it actually is, right? Like if this is something that almost never happens, like why are we even talking about it? What's the point? What's the relevance?
See, the problem is that, and I'll relate it to what her said. Basically, is that you are saying that all these isms are because of society. These things have existed for millennia, ages before societies. There has always been these sort of like isms within like society. There's always been, people who have been against women, who have been against men, who have been against color, who have been against voice, for God's sakes. So you cannot blame society for everything.
Sure, then what's your
point? You have to blame human intuition. You have to blame basically humans in general, that we need to be able to fix ourselves.
I agree. I did earlier too. I said there is an internal thing with men. Like we even talked about this, that like there is just some natural predisposition of men that makes them like kind of have weird behavior towards women. Like it's
right. But what you're saying is that it's based off of societal norms.
I believe part of them are absolutely like reinforcing like breaking boundaries. Absolutely, these are societal norms. Like we can see all kinds of things in everyday life where like people reinforce boundaries and uphold something. These are societal norms.
You can have a reinforcement of values, but you cannot have a reinforcement and say that it came from society.
That is the norm. The reinforcement is what the norm is.
It is Bella's turn. I'm so sorry, S9. It is Bella's turn. Go ahead. She's been waiting very patiently, and I see her head about to explode down in the comments. Go ahead, Bella.
Y'all, please clarify. I got to know. Did you say that there's like a disposition for men to be violent towards women genetically?
That's putting words in my mouth.
No, that's not
She's
putting
asking
it
for
in your mouth. I'm
clarification. She's
asking
asking
you.
for clarification. If it's incorrect, please correct the statement.
That's fine.
That's why I'm asking you, because it was like you guys were going back.
We got it. We've got it. He knows either way.
Okay.
Let's give him a chance to answer.
Let me speak on it. No, what I'm basically saying is that human beings as animals, we have always had this intuition. We have always had this hate. It has been existing in us for some time since we were, basically primates. We're still animals at the end of the day. We still have different ids. We still have different feelings. We still have different biases. It doesn't matter. If you took away race and color and sex from everyone, they will still find something to hate you.
But there's no genetic disposition for. There's no like natural disposition for hate. Hate is taught, right? These are all things that are taught. These are all things that are based in society.
Let me ask you something.
So, like that's why
when a baby cries. When a baby cries.
I see you,
right?
Frog. You've got a timer. When Bella's done, it'll be your turn.
Is that based on society? Is that based on being taught? No, it's based on instinct.
No.
It's based on the natural way that we express ourselves.
No, once again, no babies. Yeah, no babies are born with a predisposition to dislike somebody on the basis of anything, right? That's not what it is. Like, that's like the pure reason that they go through these developments and attachments to their caretakers. It doesn't matter about your race, gender, or sex, right? Like, babies, that's the last thing a baby. Study that proves
The other person.
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that's genetic to catcall more than women?
No.
Okay, so then it's societal, right? If it's not genetic, if it's not something that's innate, it's something that's taught, it's something they learn, and therefore it's societal, right?
You can say that it's based on society. Far past.
I'll start with bias.
Really, you have to see what it comes from.
Wait, I'm sorry. Could you define societal for me? What, like something being like? Yeah.
I mean, what do you want an explanation of?
Yeah, like what is the definition of societal? What does that mean to you?
Sorry, I gotta talk quiet.
So if you don't know, I can tell you what I usually use. I would say this is usually something that's social, right? So this is like between humans expressing things and like sharing ideas and knowledge, and it's passed and taught, and like people like teach this to their kids. It's a value they grow up with. That's a societal.
There's also laws and forms.
Yeah, but Snack, the only natural part is that humans group things to make sense of the world, but which groups we favor or hate is shaped by what we're taught. Children don't start with bias, like Bella was saying. It's cultural programming. I mean, we're talking culture, environment, experience. It's all taught. There's nothing natural.
See, the thing is that I disagree with that.
Why?
I feel that what you're not thinking of is that it's not a question of hate. It's the reaction. It's an emotion. It's something to get a reaction to someone, right? That's why I brought up the baby crying. The baby is crying not because, it hates you. It's trying to get that attention.
Yeah, that's different though. Little kids don't assume men are bad or women are weak. They learn those ideas from
It
parents.
is taught in a society that that's what you Like basically,
And
the
who
baby is
taught
not
them?
taught to cry.
Who taught them?
The baby is not taught to cry. It's not taught to get frustrated.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different than
Why the
misandry.
baby's crying.
I understand, but the thing is, exactly, why are babies crying?
Snack.
So why would a baby cry?
They're hungry.
There's
They
usually a
need
source of it.
Not
change. They
comfortable.
need to sleep.
How are they able
It's a
to get
it's
that
a pretty
across?
decent combination with a healthy baby. Like
They're-
there's there's only like
crying.
a few, like 4 things that can be wrong there.
Yeah,
Like
they're crying because men are dangerous. That's why. Or women should obey men.
they're usually
Fucking terrible.
overtired.
Needs
They're hungry.
what it
They need their
is.
diaper changed. Or
What it is he needs his needs met. So, what do we need? Right? We need to be held. We need, we need
so
food.
why would
we
they
need
care about
shelter.
whose
Everything
gender?
around us. Like, what? It's not about that. I need you to think a little bit. Stop thinking about society. Think to what I'm
Oh
thinking
my
of.
God.
The natural
you for
instinct
that.
of a human. What is the natural
See,
instinct
but
of a
this is
human?
the problem. This is the
Not to
problem.
hate other humans. It's to have a connection.
No,
with
you're
humans.
see that's the problem, is that hate is inherently basically reinforced by societal
So
norms.
where does the gender
Okay?
bias
If you
come
don't get a toy and you
from?
cry,
Yeah.
right? If you don't get a toy and you cry, then your parents get mad, they hit you. You understand and learn, let's say, and I'm just using very basic, that okay, when I cry, I get hit. That teaches me not to cry. That teaches so on and so forth. That is the society
No,
putting
I'm gonna
into
drop you down,
you
okay,
and
babe?
reinforcing it.
New or non do do. I'm gonna drop you down, love. Okay. Thank you
It's
so much
all
for
good.
coming, and you're welcome back
No, I
anytime.
appreciate you.
Wait,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Now,
Snack,
where does the gender bias come from, though?
Jesus. Okay, stop thinking about gender. I'm talking about
We're-
just
we're
human
Or the
talking
instinct.
about
statement you
misandry.
made.
Human intuition.
We're talking
The
about
Snack.
statement you made was that there is intention. There is this inherent bias that
Humans,
babies are born
no,
with.
no, that is
Certain
not
groups
the
So
statement I made.
Frog's been
What I
trying to jump
said,
in, and Frog, if you find an opening, please go ahead and take it. I just want to give you guys, I just want to give Frog a chance to speak, but please keep going. I just want to let you guys, make you guys aware of that, and then we'll introduce Red Dawn.
Yeah, I just want to say that the topic's not hate is real, just so you know.
Snack, do you understand the concept of nature versus nurture?
yes, I do.
Okay. Could you just very, very shortly describe what that is to me?
Nature is basically what happens. Like I was saying, it's basically instinct. It's something that we're born with. Nurture is something that is basically we're kind of like taught, or we're kind of like provided for, and it kind of molds us into the people that we are.
Absolutely.
There's
Okay.
big
And so,
differences between them.
Sure. Yep. Okay. And so, do you believe misogyny can't come from the nurture side?
I believe that, well, of course.
Okay, then this is our point, that it's societal, right? Nurture
Yes.
is what we... Okay, so we all agree that misogyny can be societal, and that it's not just an innate thing for men to be misogynistic. While it might play a factor, there is a societal part.
It
That-
it can play it, and that's the thing. That's fine if you want to finish. Go ahead. You're good. You don't have to look down, man. Your kid talk. It's all right.
Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I want to hear what
So,
you're saying.
well, since you guys can't decide, I'll decide for you. Red Dawn, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. What do you have anything that you want to say about the topic at hand at the moment?
Is it the same
I love
one
it when
as
you're
you've
outside.
been
I can always hear the birds. Yeah, it's misandry. Misandry real. Why does it look so blurry?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty early.
Yeah,
in
it's
the morning.
absolutely real. It's real as F.
Okay, it's really Bella, go ahead, love, and
It
then
is.
Asinine Frog, and then Snack. Go ahead, Bells, and then Frog.
That's so funny. The literal only 2 people who've called me Bells is my mom and my sister. And the way you just said that, you sound exactly like my sister.
Thank you, sweet family.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I think when we're talking about like any innate bias, I don't think biases are innate. Once again, I think these are all things that are taught, right? Babies aren't born with any type of disposition. Like the reason they cry is based off of like needs not being met that they need, right? Like they have certain needs that they obviously need to survive and it's to develop and grow. So I'm just not entirely understanding where that's coming from.
See, my point was
Like,
that you're
I
taking
don't
it.
think anyone's
Sorry.
born that way.
I understand. The thing is, what I'm saying is that let's say that you have basis of
Frog
emotions,
next.
right? You have sad, You have angry, you have scared, you have happy, right? What you're doing is basically, as a child, this is what you have, okay? When you continue to grow up, society will mold you and basically reinforce these different sort of emotions that you have. So you're not born being a misogynist. No. What happens is that you start off with, let's say, anger, right? Your mom, beats you, whatever. Yes, that is society doing that. But us humans, even if we didn't have society, we'd still have anger. We'd still be sad. We'd still be happy. We'd still be scared.
Towards a group of people.
It'd be
you just have these.
I don't know
it would
that.
Be the same,
I don't know that.
It'd be the same reason that you just are. You're sad.
I think humans are inherently. They will find a way to differentiate each other.
So I think you're kind of missing on like what societal is, right? So when you describe, right, someone learning a thing and then they have this innate emotional reaction to it. That's like a biological, physiological thing because of serotonin or whatever thing that's produced in their brain, right? This is kind of your argument, that it's reduced down to this biological thing.
Cortisol and serotonin, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So this is what we would call societal, right? Is that you have this emotional reaction to this taught behavior, right?
Wait. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Cortisol and serotonin is biological. I would not say that's a societal fact.
I understand. I'm going to conceptually tie it, right?
I'll reset your time.
I think you're reducing it too much to where you're saying because they're having this biological reaction when they're being taught, that this makes it like a biological thing and not a social thing. But I would say the emotional reaction that they have as they're taught these things by other people and they learn these behaviors from other people, this is what we call societal, right? That they're having this emotional response to the things that they're learning and they're mirroring this behavior, right? That people naturally, I agree, are going to get biases as they learn, right? But people are going to learn differently and people are going to build different biases, right? And when we're saying this person is like having this emotional, like physiological response, this is the societal thing. It's where they're learning, right? You're saying this is an innate thing, right? But the difference is it's not innate. They're taught this thing. It's off of experiences and what they're going through. This is what the nurture part of it is, right? That without the experience and without them being taught that thing and them having that experience with the other human, they don't get there. They don't get the societal thing. I'll drop my piece with that. I do need to drop out of here. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Frog. Wait, let me follow you really quick before I drop you down. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you. Herb, let me reset your time. I've missed what your name was. I'm so sorry. But I know that you what was it?
Henry.
Okay. Oh, okay. I can remember that. Let me give you 2 minutes. You've been waiting super fucking patiently. And Red Dawn, thank you so much for the gifts. I greatly appreciate it. Please go ahead, Henry.
I do kind of think to some extent there.
When I'm taught in the classroom, I actually have like serotonin that goes through my brain and fires a neuron, and therefore it's actually biological. It's like it's trying to reduce everything down to nothing. It's so stupid.
Like inherently there are biopsychosocial processes. Like society influence something, like it can influence you psychologically, and it also has a bio. You can't get anywhere without neurotransmitters firing